was the kind of hotel that didn't appear on travel websites or GPS apps. Tucked away in a forgotten corner of the countryside, the Hollow Pines Inn stood with its moss-covered bricks and crooked signage, hidden by a curtain of thick fog. For years, travelers passed it without a second glance, and those who noticed it never remembered doing so. The only way to find it was if the hotel wanted to be found. And that night it did. The rain had been falling non-stop for hours. Samantha, a documentary filmmaker chasing stories of urban legends, was driving through the desolate region when her GPS glitched. The signal dropped, the map froze, and all that remained on the screen was a blinking red dot. Frustrated and exhausted, she glanced up, and there it was. The Hollow Pines Inn, glowing dimly in the storm, as if summoned from the mist. Desperate for shelter, she pulled over, grabbed her bag, and dashed across the gravel path toward the entrance. The building was old, its windows dark except for a single flickering bulb above the main door. The wooden sign swayed above her, creaking in the wind. Vacancy. Inside, the lobby was still and cold. A thick layer of dust covered the reception counter. A musty smell hung in the air. Wet wood, mold, and something metallic. She rang the bell. No answer. She rang again. This time, a sound emerged from the shadows. Slow footsteps dragging across the wooden floor. From a side room, an elderly man appeared. His skin was pale and tight over his bones, and his eyes looked almost clouded. "Checking in," he rasped. "Yes. Just for one night," Samantha replied, brushing water off her coat. "Do you have any available rooms?" "All but one," he said, turning to a large leather-bound registry. His bony finger hovered just above it. "Room number 13 is taken. The rest are open." Samantha blinked. "Room 13. Don't worry about it," he said quickly. "Here's your key. Room 12. Second floor, end of the hall." He handed her an old-fashioned brass key, then vanished into the shadows without another word. Samantha climbed the staircase, which groaned beneath her weight. The hallway was narrow and dimly lit, the wallpaper peeling like skin. As she reached the end of the corridor, she paused in front of room 12. Her hand was on the doorknob when she noticed the door across from hers. Room number 13. Its paint was darker, as if scorched. The brass numbers were tarnished and scratched, and it had a lock, no multiple locks. 5 to be exact. Chains, bolts, deadlocks. Things you'd use to keep something inside. He shivered. Inside her room, things weren't much better. The bed creaked, the light flickered, and the mirror above the dresser was cracked. She set her bag down, pulled out her phone to document the place, but there was still no signal. Instead, she began recording audio notes. "This place feels wrong. I don't know how I ended up here. The innkeeper gave me room 12. Directly across from room 13. The hallway's cold, too cold. Like it's sucking the warmth out of the air. I have this feeling. Like I'm being watched." Later that night, as she lay in bed listening to the wind whistle through the broken window frame, a noise woke her. Click. Then another. Chain sliding. Metal softly scraping metal. Her eyes snapped open. It was coming from across the hall. Room 13. She got out of bed and approached her door quietly. Looking through the peephole, she saw shadows shifting under the crack of room 13's door. One of the locks swung open. Then another. But there was no one in the hall. Samantha backed away slowly, her heart pounding. Just then she heard a voice. A whisper. "Help me." It came from the hallway, but it wasn't human. It was distorted like a radio out of tune. She grabbed her audio recorder and pressed record, whispering, "There's someone, something, in room 13. I heard it say, 'Help me.' But the door's still locked." She didn't sleep that night. The next morning, she went downstairs to find the lobby empty. No innkeeper. No other guest. The registry was gone from the desk. Behind the counter, a door stood slightly ajar. He pushed it open. Inside was a narrow office filled with old photographs. Black and white images of guests lined the walls. Each face looked somber, almost frightened. In one photo, she saw a woman who looked eerily like herself, standing in front of room 13 mid-step, turning back as if hearing someone call her name. Samantha staggered back. The image couldn't be her. But it was. She searched the room for clues and found a dusty journal in a drawer labeled, Incident Log. Room number 13. She opened it. The entries were chilling. March 4, 1979. A guest went missing last night. He was staying in room 13. The locks were still in place, but the room was empty. No signs of forced entry. October 22, 1985. A child heard voices from room 13. Said they told her to come play. She was found outside the hotel at dawn, barefoot, whispering nonsense. June 9, 1999. Tried sealing the room for good. Still at night we hear knocking from inside. No one has stayed in 13 since. July 14, 2007. I saw her again. The woman from the mirror. The same one from the photo. She knows I'm watching. There were no more entries after that. Shaken, Samantha returned to the hallway. She had to see what was in room 13. This was no ordinary ghost story. This was something older, deeper. The door stood as it had the night before, locked, chained, and pulsing with dread. She knelt beside it, listening. Nothing. Then, suddenly, a whisper right against the wood. You've seen the photo, haven't you? She stumbled back. Her phone buzzed. A message appeared. Do not enter room 13. Sender. Unknown. But the message vanished before she could take a screenshot. Samantha backed away to her room, locked the door, and sat on the edge of the bed, heart racing. That's when she noticed something written on the mirror in her room. Words etched into the glass with a finger. You're already inside. Her breath caught in her throat. She ran to the hallway. Room 13's door was wide open. Darkness spilled out like smoke. The hallway lights flickered violently. She tried to scream, but the sound died in her throat. Inside the doorway was a mirror. Not a room. Not a bed. Not even a wall. Just a mirror, massive, spanning the entire space. And in its reflection, she saw her room. Room 12. But she wasn't in it. Someone else was. A figure stood in her place. Pale skin. Hollow eyes. Wearing her clothes. Smiling. Samantha turned to run. But the hallway was gone. Behind her, only the door to room 13 remained, now shut tight. And the locks began clicking back into place. One by one. Silence. Not the kind of silence that brings peace, but the thick, suffocating kind that presses against your chest and makes your skin crawl. Samantha stood frozen before the door of room 13. Her heart hammering. The last of the 5 locks clicked shut behind her, trapping her inside. She turned slowly, afraid of what she'd see. But the hallway was gone. Completely gone. The world outside had dissolved into an endless void, and in its place, the mirror stood tall, cold, impossibly still. The surface shimmered like dark water. Inside the mirror, her room still existed, room 12. But someone was inside it. A woman who looked just like Samantha, only wrong. Her eyes were too wide, her smile too stiff. And worst of all, she moved seconds out of sync with reality, like a puppet being manipulated by an unseen hand. Samantha backed away, only to feel the wall behind her. Cold. Stone. She wasn't in the hotel anymore. The lights above flickered to life, dim red-hued bulbs that swung as if rocked by wind, though there was none. The walls were a sickly shade of gray, and they pulsed like they were breathing. This wasn't a room. It was a prison. A sudden sound echoed through the space. A soft, childlike giggle. Samantha whipped around. Nothing there. She fumbled for her phone, but the screen was cracked. No light, no signal. Then a whisper tickled her ear. You came looking for stories. Didn't you? Her breath caught. She turned sharply. In the mirror, the reflection changed again. It showed her, but younger. Maybe 10 years old. Crying. Alone. Sitting on the floor of a dark closet. It wasn't a memory she remembered. Or maybe one she'd buried. The lights dimmed, and the giggling grew louder, bouncing off the walls. Samantha began to run, not knowing where to, just away. But the corridor curved endlessly, the mirrors on either side multiplying. Each one reflected a different version of her. Laughing, screaming, whispering, staring. Some reached out and clawed at the glass as she passed. She turned a corner and came to a door. It was labeled, "The Forgotten." Something deep inside her screamed not to open it. But she did. Inside was a small bedroom. Dusty, decayed. Child's room. Torn wallpaper, a broken toy box, a collapsed bed. And a mirror on the far wall. Muller. Framed in black wood. A little girl stood in front of it. She was humming. Samantha stepped closer. The girl didn't turn around. Her dress was tattered, and her hair was matted with dried blood. "Who are you?" Samantha whispered. The girl stopped humming. Slowly she turned. Samantha gasped. It was her. The same little girl from the earlier reflection. Only now the child's face was twisted in pain. "They locked me here," the girl said. "They said it was just a dream. But dreams don't bleed." Samantha's voice shook. "What is this place?" "It's where they put all the screams they wanted to forget," the girl whispered. "Room 13 is not a room. It's a door. Once you open it, you live inside it." Samantha reached toward the girl, but her hand passed through. She wasn't really there. Just a memory. A ghost. Suddenly, the mirror behind the girl began to pulse. From it, shadows spilled out, long arms with clawed hands, slithering across the walls. Eyes opened in the darkness, red and hungry. "Run!" the girl screamed. Samantha bolted, the shadows chasing her. She turned corner after corner, the hotel now a labyrinth of nightmares. The walls screamed. The floors wept blood. And somewhere far behind her, the innkeeper's voice echoed. "You shouldn't have looked inside." She stumbled into another room, this one familiar. It was the lobby, but it was rotting. The chandelier hung by a thread. The desk was covered in mold. And behind it stood the innkeeper. Only now he wasn't human. His face was elongated, skin sagging like melted wax. His eyes were two black pits that oozed smoke. He smiled, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. "Room 13 doesn't let go," he rasped. "It remembers. Feeds. You're just another whisper on the other side." Samantha screamed and ran toward the front door, but it wasn't there. Just a blank wall. She turned to the mirror that now stood where the entrance used to be. It showed her again, standing in the Mirror World Hotel. But behind her was the version of her from room 12. The wrong Samantha. The imposter. The imposter turned and looked directly into her eyes through the mirror. Then, smiling cruelly, she whispered, "They'll never know I'm not you." And she walked away. Into the real world. Samantha slammed her fists against the mirror, screaming. But the surface didn't break. Her reflection was gone. Now all that stared back was darkness. The innkeeper's voice came again, closer this time. "Would you like to check out now?" He turned. The innkeeper was behind her. His hand reached out. Like bright, blinding white light. She opened her eyes, gasping. She was back in room 12. Sunlight poured in through the curtains. The bed, the mirror, everything looked normal. Her phone buzzed beside her. Full battery. Full signal. She sat up, heart pounding. It was morning. She checked the time, 8:13 a.m. Maybe it was all a nightmare. Hallucination. She rushed out of the room, down the hall. Room 13 was gone. The door wasn't there. Just a blank stretch of wall. She went downstairs. The innkeeper was nowhere to be seen. A young woman in casual clothes stood behind the counter. "Good morning," she said brightly. "Checking out." Samantha blinked. "Where's the older man?" "The innkeeper." The woman looked confused. "There's no one else here. I run this place. Always have." Samantha's mouth went dry. "What about room 13? The woman's smile faded. "We don't have a room 13. Superstition." Some guests don't like that number. Samantha nodded slowly, but her mind raced. She left quickly, driving away with shaking hands. She didn't stop until she reached the next town. At a cafe, she pulled out her recorder and played her last audio notes. Static. Then a voice. Not hers. I told you. You're already inside. She dropped it, heart frozen. And on her phone screen, a new message appeared. Come back. Room 13 misses you. Ending note for viewers. They say some places aren't meant to be found. But what if you didn't find the place? What if the place found you? If you ever see a hotel in the fog with a flickering vacancy sign, ask yourself this. Do you know who you are? Really? Or did you already check in to room number 13? If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, next time you hear a knock in the hallway with no one there, don't open the door. Some rooms are meant to stay locked forever.